Hey everybody, I wanted to make this video kind of about my experience with COVID, the Omicron, just to kind of, if I can help anybody or just kind of warn people, because ironically, what the news is saying and the CDC and whatever is not, it's not totally factual. So people are getting this whether they had no vaccines, one vaccine, two vaccines, boosters, double boosters, whatever. They're getting it, and they're getting, just as severe symptoms. So I just wanted to tell a little bit about my experience. So, I have bad allergies, and, I get allergy shots every week. So, it's pretty typical in when it's cold outside and the heat, there's a lot of heat. The allergist told me don't put the humidifier, don't make it really humid, because I have really bad dust mite allergy and it makes it worse. So I figured, okay, so my throat was really dry. It wasn't really hurting. It was just really, really dry. And so I figured, oh yeah, it's just because, it's dry. My husband had been getting nosebleed because it's dry, because of the heat and stuff. So I have been getting physical therapy in my neck because of a previous car accident injury. Anyway, so my muscles were I woke up Thursday. Today's Sunday. So I woke up Thursday and my muscles were just hurting. And I had been doing a lot of work in the house and stuff, and the physical therapy. So I figured, it was just from that or whatever. But so I went to get my allergy shots because I figured, I need to get them, because usually if I don't get them, I get worse. But so I got my allergy shots, and I had my physical therapy appointment, and I was just tired, and I figured, we didn't see the sun for a couple of days. It was raining, humid, so I'm whatever. So then I started having this cough. And my husband, who happens to be a family practice physician, he told me, all my patients that are being tested are coming back positive for COVID. So I think that you should get tested. And I'm like, okay, why don't you, go give me a test? And we remembered that we had an extra over-the-counter test from CVS for my son, who had been a close contact or whatever a month ago. And I took it, and then I told my husband, I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go take a bath, and because I was just all my muscles and stuff. So my husband, he came in and he said, what do you see? And I'm like, it looked like a faint line. It wasn't really defined, right? So I was like, maybe it's a faulty test or something. And he's like, no, the package, it says if there's any line, then you're positive. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the least thing I expected, right? So So I started, having a cough, the chills. Like, Friday, I literally took like 3 baths because I was so cold. Like, nothing could get me warm, but at the same time, I didn't have a fever. Like, my hands were still like cold. And anyway, so the Epsom salt really helped. Taking like a really hot bath, like, it would help with the muscle aches. But so Friday, I tried to find a drive-in PCR test for COVID, just to confirm it, because I was like, I wasn't 100% sure because of that line being so faint. And sorry. So I looked everywhere. Like, I looked in CVS online. Nothing, not in anywhere in Virginia was there an appointment. And CVS, no appointments. And there were no over-the-counter, rapid tests either. And so I had heard, like, if you go to the urgent care, they'll test you there. So I looked on Google and found this one place, this one urgent care. I'm in Northern Virginia, so like, it was in Chantilly. And so I went there, and they said they closed at 8, but they said there was a sign, and they said they stopped testing people. I mean, they stopped taking people, and it was 2:00. And the whole urgent care was packed. People were coughing all over the place. And there was some, like, healthy people who, didn't really look sick, and they're in there with all these people just hacking away, and people were wearing, like, their mask and stuff, but like, everybody was crammed in one place. So it's like, even if you went to the urgent care for like another reason, you're gonna end up getting it, because it's because people were just hacking away. So so I asked the lady, I'm like, where can I get a PCR test? I need to get tested. And she's like, go Google it. And I'm like, okay. So I thought, okay, it was New Year's Eve, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, maybe like the urgent care in my husband's building of his clinic, maybe they're still taking people. So I hurried up and got there. They said they closed at 4, and they were still taking people. Thank God, And so I signed in and everything, and I told the lady, I took over the counter test. I wasn't really sure because it wasn't the line wasn't like really distinct and whatever. And she's like, okay. So I signed in. And so I sat down. I tried to stay away from people. But like, there was this one lady. She had on a mask. She was coughing. Her 2-year-old was coughing too. And he wasn't wearing a mask. And he's just like coughing all over the place, right? Like a, typical toddler, right? And then she had like a 3 or 4-year-old daughter who's also wearing a mask, who was coughing. And there was this older Asian couple, and they were like 70s, and they didn't look good, like, they weren't really like coughing and stuff. They were having like congestion, and they just looked so tired and everything. And there was one guy, like, in front of the people that were like coughing like crazy. He looked totally like totally healthy, right? So he was wearing a mask, and he's sitting in front of all these people coughing all over him. And I just felt like telling the guy, just go home, man. You know, I mean, if you're not like really sick, why are you here? Like, but there was other people coughing, and then the lady's like, if you guys want, you can go to your car and wait in your car. She's like, it might not be 4 or 5 hours till you can be seen. And I'm like, oh my God. She's like, if you want to go home, we'll call you. So, I got in my car and I'm like, well, I might as well go home, you know, have some tea or something. And, so I come home, I get the My Chart message, and it said your appointment has been scheduled for like 4, right? So I'm like, oh my, you know, I asked my husband, should I go? And he's like, yeah, if they said your appointment is this time, then go. So I went. The front desk lady told me, no, it's going to be 4 or 5 hours. And she's like, if you want, you can stay in your car. And if you want, you can just drive around. So I was like, okay. So I said, you know what? Let me just drive around a little bit. So I just drove around a little bit. And then the lady calls me. And she's like, I hope you're in the waiting room. She said, I hope you're in the waiting room. And I said, oh. I said, I'm in the car. I'm like, you know, 5 minutes away. I'm on my way. She's like, okay. So I get there and the doors are locked, like to the urgent care. And so I'm knocking on the door and I'm ringing the doorbell and everybody's ignoring me. And I'm just like, what is this? You know, I'm pretty sure the front desk lady, like, she saw me literally like 3 times and checked me in and everything. And why is she ignoring me? So I start like, you know, banging on the door and ringing the doorbell thing, and she's just ignoring me. And so then the nurse comes out and says my name, and I hear her say my name. And so I start jumping up and down, literally, and banging on the door. And so, you know, thank God she saw me. And so I went in the place and I'm like, you know, my husband's a doctor and I'm pretty sure he would never do that to a patient. Anyway, so I went back to the urgent care, and I got swabbed, and you know, I honestly, I didn't get the vaccine because I had anaphylaxis before, and you know, that was the most scary moment in my life that I ever had, was just having anaphylaxis, not being able to breathe. Your throat closes up, your blood pressure drops, you faint. Like, I did not want to go through that again. You know, I was scared, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so I didn't get a vaccine. And thank God, you know, I took as many precautions as I have through the past, you know, 2 years with the hand sanitizer and the masks and the hand washing and the social distancing and all that, you know. And so, like, it really doesn't matter, because half of the people, like, I asked the people, I'm like, did you get a vaccine? Did you get, you know, I asked them if they had vaccines, and they said yes. So, I mean, and I know personally people who just had the booster, who were totally fully vaccinated, who are getting this Omicron, you know. And so I just think they should be honest with people and tell people that this vaccine is not helping this variant. It's not helping people. They're just lying to people. And I just really think that they should be honest. This is not just some random breakthrough case. Like, it's literally going through the whole community. One person after another, spreading like wildfire. So anyway, so my mom had sent me the name of a medication that was for COVID. Like, they had just at Emory in Atlanta. They live in Atlanta, but I guess it was available at Sam's, and so they're like, "Why don't you get that prescription?" And so I asked the guy, the urgent care doctor. I said, "Okay, so I need this prescription if you have it," and he's like, "They only have it in New York," and I'm like, we're near DC, you know what I mean? Like, the CDC is not even that far, So, whatever. So, my husband told me to tell the guy that, I had a suspected sinus infection, because honestly, I thought I had one too, because all this like sinus pain and stuff. I usually get it like, a few times a year or whatever. But, so like I said, I need a prescription for Augmentin. And he's like, I can give it to you, but it's not going to help. But my husband is a family practice physician, and he treats his patients with the symptoms they have, right? So he's not just like, oh yeah, you have COVID, that you can't do anything. No, like, you're supposed, that's, if somebody has COVID pneumonia, you're supposed to treat it, and whatever. So I insisted, and I started taking it, but so anyway, let's see. So today is Sunday, and I've kind of gotten, more tired, and the cough has kind of gotten worse, but the muscle aches aren't like constant like they were the first couple days. But the bath with Epsom salt helps. Soup helps. Like, bone broth, soup, garlic, ginger, turmeric, let's see. Definitely like, keeping yourself hydrated, and, like the warm drinks, they're really good for your throat. Yeah. So, so that was pretty much my experience. My son had a really bad headache, and his throat was bothering him. So I suspect that he may be coming down with it. And my other son had a fever, and, he has like that voice, where you kind of can tell if somebody is congested and stuff. So, yeah. You worry more about your kids than you do yourself, honestly. But, yeah, so that's the situation. My kids, they go to a private school, and they ended up saying they're going virtual for 3 days until they can test everybody with PCR tests, which is fine, because we have quarantine anyway. I'm just in my room quarantining. Yeah, it's kind of isolating, but thank God now we have the technology where we can just connect with people through the screens, at least. But this is kind of like a warning to people. don't listen to what they're saying. You know, I was wearing a mask, right? I was taking precautions. I was using hand sanitizer, washing my hands, you know, everything. And don't rely on a mask, right? And don't rely on the fact that you're vaccinated and you're boosted and whatever. It's not helping with this variant, Omicron. So yeah, I just want to let you know. It's just so frustrating because, like, there's so many people who need to be tested and need tests, and there's no tests. Like, it's hard to get tested, you know? But anyway, yeah, we'll get over this, and hopefully, you know, the spike will be gone. I think they said like February or something. I'm just, you know, I think everybody's frustrated. And everybody's just, and I don't know about you guys, but I really just want to know exactly how this whole thing came about. You know, I think we deserve to know. We deserve there to be an investigation as to what exactly happened. The whole world deserves to know. All these people died. And all these people got sick. There's some people with, you know, long-term complications. You know, I just know that if this was, you know, done on purpose or whatever, or, you know, there's a day of judgment, you know, and there's going to be a day when every single person is going to be held accountable for what they did. And because God is the most just. So whether we find it out here, now, later, or, you know, on that day, right? So you can be rest assured that there will be a day. Anyway, thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum. Stay healthy.